Hello and welcome to the BC Sports Hall of Fame's 51st annual induction celebration. I'm Michelle Collins.
I'm Jared Harmon. Thank you for joining us tonight to honor the outstanding achievements and contributions of the BC Sports Hall of Fame's class of 2020.
This evening, we'll take you on a journey to meet or reacquaint you with some of the most influential athletes, builders, and media members in BC sports history.
In what became the longest induction process in the history of the BC Sports Hall of Fame, tonight's celebration is more than just a look into history. It's a chance for us all to come together and connect, albeit in a new way, to share stories and our fondest memories of moments, teams, and individuals that make up the fabric of BC sports heritage.
We're so pleased to have you join us for this long-awaited celebration. Please welcome our hosts for this evening, Lynn Kanuka and Perry Salkowski.
Thank you all for joining us this evening. Tonight is a special night in sport for this province. While individual accolades recognize specific achievements over the course of a career, induction into the BC Sports Hall of Fame recognizes a lifetime of excellence and dedication to sport in this province and beyond. I am proud to be an honored member of the BC Sports Hall of Fame.
And deservedly so, Lynn. Induction into the Hall of Fame isn't just an award you take home. It's a legacy you leave behind to inspire future generations of British Columbians to dream big and to achieve their personal best.
It's the highest sporting honor in British Columbia. For those who have contributed so much to putting BC athletics on the map, this is our opportunity to honor them and ensure that their legacy will carry on well into the future.
After tonight's inductions, the BC Sports Hall of Fame will have 416 individuals and 64 teams representing all facets of sport from around the province, spanning over a century. The class of 2020 represents a wide array of sports teams and organizations, and 12 deserving inductees will join the honored member ranks this evening.
The BC Sports Hall of Fame's annual gala is also the single largest fundraising opportunity of the year. In support of the Hero in You youth education program, we're hosting an online 50-50. Please visit bcsportshall.rafflenexus.com for your chance to take home the grand prize, all the while helping to support the dreams and aspirations of young athletes across the province.
Winners on both sides. We still miss you, our in-person audience, and cannot wait to gather again. But we still want to hear from you. So be sure to share your favorite moments from tonight with us via Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter using @BC Sports Hall and the hashtags Class of 2020 and hashtag Induction Gala.
And now, before we begin tonight's proceedings, here's a special welcome.
No Chokomaha. My name is Tsutsakin, Tuani Joseph. I am a member of the Squamish Nation and also a proud member of the BC Sports Hall of Fame Board of Trustees. I would like to acknowledge that the museum at BC Place is located on the ancestral, traditional, and unceded territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. We are committed to reconciliation, and within the hall, we are proud of the Indigenous Sports Gallery, which celebrates athletes from right across British Columbia and is a true legacy to where we've come from, but it also inspires the future through the power of sport. We would like to thank you for your contributions to our recent 100 Ravens campaign, which brings to life stories from our Indigenous Sports Gallery to BC learners from right across British Columbia. To all of the inductees, tonight is about Chin Chin Swite, holding you up and supporting one another. Welcome to the BC Sports Hall of Fame. Ocean.
Our first inductee is no stranger to football fans in this province. BC Lions defensive lineman Brent Johnson. Here's his story.
Brent Johnson was a late bloomer to football, but in his last year of high school, he was a 6'3", 245-pound defensive dynamo. Playing for Ohio State, he helped the Buckeyes to a Rose Bowl victory. With the BC Lions, Brent was a key part to one of their most successful decades in history. 5 West Division titles and 2 Grey Cups. Learn more about one of the CFL's greatest defensive players at the BC Sports Hall of Fame and inspire the future with us.
It's our pleasure to welcome Brent into the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the athlete category for football.
And Brent Johnson joins me now in the BC Sports Hall of Fame. Nice place to be, nice place to come visit.
Bad, yeah.
How do you take the honor?
Well, it's surreal, but what a wonderful honor it is. As an athlete and a player over all the years, you get to go out and perform your sport that you love and enjoy doing, and you do it with all these other teammates and that. Very few times do you get, not necessarily a send-off, but to be remembered in this sort of light. And for me, it just encapsulates, the people I got to work with, play with, the teams I got to be on, and just the pure enjoyment that I had getting to live out a dream of playing professional sport for a living and my life. It's just a wonderful honor. I'm just happy to be in with
You did it with such grace too, and in the time of celebrations, that was never you. You just did the job. There was almost a point where you quit football, though, wasn't it? Before you got on to Ohio, was there tough times before you go? This is exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah, well, after graduating university, and I had a small stint in the NFL, and after that was done, I think I was kind of topped up with football and wanted to move on in a different direction in my life. But I was fortunate enough, I was drafted here with BC, and I remember, someone calling them up saying, hey, if you want to come out here and there's an opportunity for you, and maybe you want to try it out. And next thing you know, I was on a plane out here, and I'd never been to BC before, actually, and now it's my home and my life and my family's here. And but I was going to stop after university.
Well, so many people are thankful you didn't, including Canadian football players, because normally it's fullback, O-line, but here you are, defensive end, doing what you did. Did you look at that at the time as a Canadian making a difference in that position?
I think I did as I grew into the position, and I became more of a part of the BC Lions organization. Early on, I think it was more just going out there trying to do my job, earn a spot kind of thing. But when I look back at the history and the people that came before me that played it, and the Canadians that played it before me, I felt there was a certain bar I had to live up to. And it pushed me a lot, and I'm grateful for all the guys that came before me, and I played it with a bit of a chip on my shoulder for that reason, that not a lot of Canadians had an opportunity to play defensive end.
Lived up to expectations, surpassed the expectations in a Lions uniform, and rightfully here in the BC Sports Hall of Fame, and grateful to our city to be another positive contributor to Vancouver. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Brent Johnson, the newest member of the BC Sports Hall of Fame. Lynn?
Thanks, Perry. Next, we're pleased to introduce Sonia Gaudette, the world's most decorated wheelchair curler. Let's take a look at her story.
Sonia Gaudette never gave curling a second thought, but a life-changing equestrian accident would alter the course of her life forever and catapult her to Paralympic fame. Rediscovering the camaraderie of sport, she took up wheelchair curling. With natural athletic ability, she quickly excelled, securing a spot on Team Canada, serving as the Canadian flag bearer at the 2014 Paralympics in Sochi before taking home Olympic gold. Learn more about one of the world's most decorated wheelchair curlers at the BC Sports Hall of Fame and inspire the future with us.
We are thrilled to welcome Sonia into the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the athlete category for wheelchair curling.
And joining me now from her home in Vernon, BC, is the newest member of the BC Sports Hall of Fame, Sonia Gaudette. Hi, Sonia. Congratulations. What do you make of this honor?
Wow. Well, too hard to put into words. Totally honored and proud to be inducted into the BC Sports Hall of Fame, no doubt. My curling career has just kind of took on a life of its own over the last 14 years, and it means a lot to me. It means a lot for Paralympic sport. It means a lot for wheelchair curling, and it just, adds some purpose to my story after my accident and finding the sport of wheelchair curling and what that has brought to my life.
Sonia, how important was it to find that competitive outlet that you found in wheelchair curling for you? Was that what catapulted you to such great success, do you think?
Yeah, I wasn't out there actively looking for that, or I didn't think I was, and really hesitant to try the sport of curling because I maybe felt like it wasn't just an active enough sport for me, but I soon realized that it has that real strategic and detailed and teamwork aspect to it that I love about sport, and certainly notch up on the competitive level. So I realized quickly that it was a sport that I would easily fit into and could easily also fit into my lifestyle at the time with young kids and still being a mom and you know, being able to train in my hometown. So yeah, and as soon as I felt that competitive spirit again, I was hooked.
You did it so well at the highest level, and then, you know, there's wonderful honors, and behind you is that picture of you, a flag bearer in Sochi. I think you find the outlet, but then to represent our country on the biggest stage, what was that like? Did that kind of move past all of your dreams or hopes?
Yes, it absolutely did. There's no doubt. Again, it just allowed me to you know, send that message that I always wanted to give through the power of sport after, you know, an injury. And like so many of my teammates and competitors, athletes in Canada and around the world, you know, that's what we want people to see is that there's life after spinal cord injury, a life after, you know, tragedy in your life, and sport gave me that, and then to showcase that at a national and a world level, it just there's no words can define what that did for myself and for my family and for Paralympic sport. I hope that I have been able to impact other athletes at the grassroots level and right through in the Paralympic sport world.
You have been a terrific champion of the movement of our country and our province, and congratulations, rightfully entering the BC Sports Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Sonia.
Thank you so much. I'm super honored. Thank you very much.
Congrats. Now back to Lynn.
Thanks, Perry. For nearly 30 years, Bill Mitchell devoted his life to BC and Canadian wrestling. Let's see more about his accomplishments.
Bill Mitchell was a passionate coach, father figure, mentor, and friend. After 9 seasons as a CFL lineman, he became a high school wrestling coach, growing programs, training coaches, and creating world-class athletes. He represented Canadian wrestling at the Pan Am Games, the Commonwealth Games, and his career highlight, the 1988 Olympics. Learn more about one of Canada's greatest wrestling coaches at the BC Sports Hall of Fame and inspire the future with us.
Please join us in welcoming Bill into the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the Builder Coach category for wrestling.
Bill Mitchell going into the BC Sports Hall of Fame. His daughter Karen is here accepting the award. I mean, you know, an individual goes in, but it can't be done without support of the family. You tell me, what was it like with your dad and how much he did with wrestling and teaching students?
My dad was passionate about teaching kids. My dad was passionate about working with kids that were a bit marginalized and wanted to create an opportunity for them to do the best that they could do. And he was really passionate about working with kids.
You see a lot of it, you know, BC's got so many really quality world champion wrestlers that they would look to your father to kind of be the instigator. But it sounds like it was just about other kids. It wasn't about the champion, it's about learning. Was that part of the process?
He was really passionate about the process. He also really worked hard to develop the coaches in his school district where he worked so that he could build the program. And then he was passionate about making sure that he built the program at SFU. And so it all just came together. And it's interesting that he's underneath Paul Nemeth, because Paul Nemeth was his mentor and was one of the reasons why he got involved in wrestling when he came to Vancouver.
When you're seeing him do it, or when he's involved, do you think he's looking back at the trail and what he's left behind? How would he accept this award?
He's a very humble man. I think he would be most proud of the kids that he taught and the kids that he coached. And I think that would be what he would be proud of. Not the award, but all the people that he influenced.
I'm always fascinated because you have someone, your father goes out and you just talk about the hundreds, if not thousands of kids he influences. Back home, what did you learn? What did you learn watching all that from your father?
We were a big part of his passion for athletics, and we had a rule in our family, one in, all in. And so if somebody was participating, we were all involved in athletics, and if anybody was participating, we would all go. And whenever my dad's teams were in the provincial championships, we were all there. And we all knew the players, the people on his teams, we knew who they were. They often came to our home for dinner. Teams would come over to our place for dinner. They would drop by and to try and get dinner. We were a big part of those kids'
It
lives.
sounds like an individual sport, which wrestling is. It was a family community led by the Mitchells. Is that fair?
A little bit.
Congratulations to your family and your father for being inducted into the BC Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, Simgaget Sigidamanak Gwit Wiltsik. My name's Melanie Mark. My Niska name's Lahai Kwiskak, and I'm very proud to be the MLA for Vancouver Mount Pleasant and BC's Minister for Tourism, Arts, Culture and Sport. And I'm happy to be participating virtually from the traditional territory of the Musqueam, Squamish and Tsleil-Waututh Nations, and to acknowledge the territory that you're joining us from to celebrate the class of 2020 joining the BC Sports Hall of Fame. It is my honor to be the sports minister. Sports had a huge impact on my life. I believe that sport is the great equalizer. And just going through the list of amazing individuals, outstanding British Columbians, all 12 categories of individuals that have punched above their weight class, who have pushed diversity, who have made us proud, who have enriched community. I just can't thank you enough for the work that you've done throughout community and the legacy that you've left behind, knowing that you left the world in a better place because of your leadership, because of your dedication, and because of your sacrifice. So on behalf of our BC government and the Premier, congratulations in Niska Tuksiasm. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister Mark, for taking the time to join us this evening. Next, we're so pleased to welcome Kathy Newman, a pioneer and leader for over 25 years. Here is her story.
Wheelchair sports in Canada would not be the same without Kathy Newman. As the executive director for the BC Wheelchair Sports Association, she created programs like Bridging the Gap and Have a Go that encourage people with disabilities to try sports. She facilitated world-class events, the 2010 World Wheelchair Rugby Championships, the 2014 Women's World Wheelchair Basketball Championships. Learn more about this world leader in wheelchair sports at the BC Sports Hall of Fame and inspire the future with us.
I'm so pleased to welcome Kathy to the BC Sports Hall of Fame as the recipient of the W.A.C. BENNETT Award.
And Kathy joins us now via Zoom from her home in Langley. Kathy, great to see you. Congratulations. How does this award make you feel?
Oh, it's pretty amazing. I was shocked when I heard the news. So it's an amazing honor for sure.
Well, and I think when you're in it, it's such a well-deserved honor. You did so much for sport, Kathy. When you're doing it, did you understand the trailblazer and what you were doing for the people and what we see now?
Not really. It was very natural and just wanted to continue to solve challenges and remove barriers and just try and do the best I could possibly do. And never thought of it that way. It was just has been and always will be a passion for me to continue to improve the parasport movement around Canada and across the world.
Take us back. What was the motivation? What was the motivation to start and bring a young Rick Hansen on board to say there has to be more?
Well, when I first started working at BC Wheelchair Sports, I recognized that there was limited opportunities for people with disabilities to have programming opportunities on a regular basis and also competitive opportunities. So it was our mission to try to ensure that those opportunities were available for people with disabilities participating in sport. And we just did everything we could to make sure that those opportunities were available. Just a natural progression, I guess.
It is. We are in an Olympic year. We see the Paralympics and people in the stands. It is overwhelming to see the support and the quality of athletes. How does that make you feel, knowing you started back in '81 and maybe the first in Canada to bring aboard, to what we see globally? Have we done enough? How far have we come?
Well, we've certainly come a long way, and I'm grateful for that advancement over the years. But feel that we still need to do more work. We need to continue to ensure that the parasport movement is top of mind for people, and that it's an excellent sporting event to watch. So I'm constantly trying to convey the message that there needs to be more attention paid to the parasport movement, and we hopefully will get there someday, where people will think, whenever anyone says Olympics, they will say Olympics and Paralympics. That's the goal.
Well, and you're a big part of that. I know over your shoulder that is a Lifetime Achievement Award, and now deservedly so, you are here in the BC Sports Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Kathy, for everything that you have done.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Kathy, thanks so much for your time this evening, and congratulations once again. Let's check back in with Lynn now to see what's coming up next.
Thanks, Perry. A hugely influential figure in BC's golf community, Vancouver's Harry White is our next inductee. Here is more about Harry.
Known for using unusually high tees, Harry White's motto was "Tee it high and let it fly." While a top amateur golfer, Harry's most significant contribution came at the grassroots level. He co-founded the Junior America's Cup in BC and influenced greats like Nick Taylor, Jennifer Wyde, and James Lepp. Learn more about one of BC's most prolific nurturers of young golf talent at the BC Sports Hall of Fame, and inspire the future with us.
It is our pleasure to welcome Harry into the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the Builder Coach category for golf.
Harry passed away much too young. When we asked his family to tell us a bit about Harry, they described him as a quiet, confident, and supportive man. He started golfing with his dad at the age of 11, and soon it became his life's work. Harry was someone who wanted to share his passion of golf with anyone who wanted to learn, but especially the kids. All par for the course in the life of Harry White. Harry, congratulations. We miss you, and we thank you for all you did for BC's golf community. Your legacy will live on forever in the Hall of Champions. Lynn, back to you.
Our next inductee, Jeff Francis, is well known throughout BC, Canada, and Major League Baseball. Let's have a look at his journey.
As a kid, Jeff Francis wanted to quit pitching, but he was too shy to tell his coach. Good thing. He played 11 Major League seasons with the Colorado Rockies. He was a starting pitcher in the 2007 World Series, won gold at the 2015 Pan Am Games, and even had a Sports Illustrated cover. Not bad for a shy kid from North Delta. Learn more about one of Canada's greatest pitchers at the BC Sports Hall of Fame and inspire the future with us.
We are excited to welcome Jeff to the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the athlete category for baseball.
And joining us right now from his home in London, Ontario, the pride of North Delta and the newest member of the BC Sports Hall of Fame, we say hello to Jeff Francis. Jeff, great to see you. First, what do you make of this honor and being here in the BC Sports Hall of Fame?
It's really hard to put into words. It's not something you think about, you know, when you're a kid dreaming about playing baseball, or even when you're trying to navigate through your career. It's just really icing on the cake, and it's really just a chance for me to be able to reach out and thank all those people that helped it happen for me, because there's no way I did this by myself. And it started when I was little. And, for every coach I had along the way, for every parent who helped drive me to practice or to a game, it's really a chance for me to publicly thank all those people.
Jeff, when did you know maybe you were different in the sense that you had some unique skill? I mean, great in North Delta, you go to UBC. Was it at that point at the university level when we really hadn't seen someone from UBC reach the majors and doing it in a big way that you maybe thought this could be a way where you could make a living?
Yeah, I don't really think I had concrete plans of playing professional baseball until I was in university. I always dreamed of it. I think I always dreamed of just playing any sport I could professionally. Watching players play in those big stadiums on those beautiful fields as a kid, that's what I dreamed about. And it never really became a reality until, being at UBC and being able to measure myself against all those great players down south in the US. And, really until scouts started showing up, that's when it became a reality. And that's really when, things took off as far as, the way I approached what I wanted to get out of baseball. And, once my focus was, tunnel like that, it seemed to take off for me.
You were always so calm. You're so relaxed. In the interview, you look relaxed pitching in the World Series. Was that the case for you, or now do you look back and go, man, no, that was nerve-wracking. All of Canada was behind me. My team was behind me. What was it that made you a success?
Yeah, not at all. I'm quite a nervous guy. I always tried to not show that on the outside, though. One of my favorite athletes as a kid, believe it or not, was Pete Sampras. I watched a lot of tennis as a kid, and I remember seeing him in an interview. He always said he never wanted to show his opponent what he was thinking. He could be getting beat really bad, or he could be winning really bad. And, if his opponent was looking across and wondering what the heck he was thinking, then he felt he had an edge on his opponent. And that's something that always stuck with me through my life. And I think it's spilled over into other aspects of life too. I just try not to get too excited and too down, because, things always kind of round the corner in the end, and just try to stay as medium emotion as I can.
There's still one task to do, because whenever you get your family to the BC Sports Hall of Fame, they'll see, your kids will see Dad's picture on the cover of Sports Illustrated. You mentioned to me the jerseys behind you and on the wall. They probably think you bought it at some farmer's market or arts and craft. When do you think they'll find out what you did for a living and that you were pretty good at it? Are you excited to tell them, or you're just always going to be Dad, aren't you?
Well, I try to show them from time to time. Like I said, these jerseys behind me, I think they think every dad in the neighborhood has those, or even the one that says Francis on it. I think they think that's theirs. But someday they'll grow up and then they'll appreciate it. But I whether it's baseball or whatever they want to do, I just, like most parents, just love watching my kids play and really want them to find something that they can enjoy the way I have with baseball.
Listen, you certainly were a trailblazer. UBC baseball players know they have Jeff Francis to look up to and to see what you did. It is wonderful to catch up with you. Continued success and health with your family. We look forward to getting back. And congratulations, Jeff, for going in to the BC Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you so much.
It's often said that it takes a village. It takes a village to get anything worth doing done. It takes a village to get anything important done. In the case of producing a new class of Hall of Famers, a new class of honored members of the BC Sports Hall of Fame, it quite frankly takes more than a village. It takes a province. It takes a province in the form of the government of British Columbia, through its sport branch, through the custodian via sport. It takes a network of provincial sport organizations operating under the umbrella of Sport BC to identify the stories in each of their sports that have made us so proud to be British Columbians and to be Canadians. It takes our selection committee, chaired by Wendy Pattenden, and drawn from the hall itself, from the media, and from our communities. It takes our honored members committee, chaired by Joan McMaster and Alexa Liu. It takes our induction committee, co-chaired by Jared Harmon and Michelle Collins. It takes those companies that believe in the power of sport and they want to invest in sport history, sport heritage, and sport culture. It takes the regional halls, the local halls, the sport-specific halls that are often stepping stones to the BC Sports Hall of Fame, just in the same way that the BC Sports Hall is a stepping stone to other halls, including Canada's Sports Hall of Fame. It takes all those people and more, including our nominators. In fact, without nominators, we have no nominees, we have no new class. So join us in not only welcoming our class of 2020, these amazing stories of athletes, coaches, pioneers, executives, teams, media that have really made a difference as part of the fabric of the BC sports story, but also thank all those who've helped make them happen. This class of 2020 will continue to do what they've already done: inspire us, amaze us, and make us proud to be British Columbians, make us proud to be Canadians.
Hi, I'm Charlene Kripakavich, CEO of Via Sport BC. 2020 provided no shortages of challenges for BC athletes. Yet here we are today as we're starting to see professional sport return to our communities, amateur sport return to our communities, and children and youth back on the fields and in our communities playing sport. It's for this reason that I'm so excited to be here and really represent Via Sport and send a big congratulations to the 2020 nominees. Induction into the BC Sport Hall of Fame is like no other award. It's really a legacy that is being created to share with generations of British Columbians, to inspire those to dream big and achieve their personal best. It's also an opportunity to acknowledge a lifetime of achievement and excellence and dedication to sport in this province and beyond. Tonight's celebration is more than a reflection of our history. It's an opportunity for us to come together as a community to share memories, stories of those individuals and teams that elevated British Columbia sport to the forefront. It's also an opportunity for us to acknowledge the highest honor in sport in British Columbia and to give thanks and acknowledgement to those who have contributed so much and ensure that this legacy lives for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom and Charlene. Our next 2020 inductee is hockey pioneer Robin Bawa. Here is his story.
Robin Bawa fought battles on and off the ice. As a child, he was told, "Your kind doesn't play hockey," but he ignored that. His father taught him to skate on a frozen pond. Fighting racism his entire career, he persevered. On October 6, 1989, he became the first South Asian player in the NHL, and later the first to score a goal. Learn more about this pioneer at the BC Sports Hall of Fame and inspire the future with us.
It is our pleasure to welcome Robin into the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the Pioneer category for ice hockey.
And Robin Bawa joins me now at the BC Sports Hall of Fame. What a great place for you to be, and congratulations. What does the honor mean?
Oh, you know, when I first got the call, I was very surprised and shocked. And, you know, after about a year now, it sunk in, and it's such an honor to be on the wall here, to be inducted, and to be with all these great names here. It's just, I can't say enough.
You are certainly a trailblazer, and we're seeing more with South Asians in the hockey community. Back then when you're doing it, Robin, when you're trying, you're in Kamloops, you're grinding it out in Washington. How difficult was that path?
Well, it was a tough road. I think anybody just alone playing hockey, trying to make it professionally, is a tough road. And when you're a minority, it's even tougher. And, you know, every family goes through their trials and errors. And we were one of those families. We were an immigrant family. My grandpa came over in 1906. My mom's dad came over in 1954. But they installed the work ethic in our family. And, you know, we, you know, from day one, my dad said, you got to work hard. You know, you got to stay focused, and you got to grind it out, and you can't let nothing bother you. And from that day, we just moved forward, and it was more of a family effort when you're younger. You know, you had to support your sisters, your parents, you know, your aunts and uncles, and you know, it was great until you got to Kamloops. You know, and when you move away, then you know who supports you, and your family always comes and watches you, and you had good teammates in Kamloops. You know, with guys like Dean Evans and Doug Bodger. You know, all these guys, Joe Ray. So they really, you know, took me under the wing.
You had that great core and successful team in Kamloops. Then you try and pursue the NHL. You're in Washington. Did that become individual again with pros? You know, all of a sudden everyone's trying to earn a paycheck. Was that your family again a support, or did you have to feel like you had to challenge that on your own?
Well, you know what? It comes a time when you have to challenge it on your own. Your parents lay your foundation for you. Then after that, it's up to you to, you know, move forward with it. And you know, my style of play was mostly, you know, hard work, you know, grind it out and play that physical game. I was a goal scorer in junior with Hitch, and when I turned pro, I had to learn the other element of the game of toughness, and it was a good ride.
We certainly talk more at a pro level and about sports and hockey about diversity. Have we come a long way? There's so much farther to go, but where do you feel we are?
You know, I think we have come a long way since the 1970s. I think that we could do better. When I was playing, I was probably one of the only South Asian kids playing. And coming now, there's a lot more nationalities playing in the minor hockeys and in the Western League, and even now in the NHL with Jujar Mani. So I think it's a good thing to see, and the NHL has done a good job.
Well, and now they will come into this building and see the plaque because you started it all. Congratulations.
Thanks, Perry.
Robin Bawa going into the BC Sports Hall of Fame. Len, back to you.
Though her career in trampoline gymnastics has spanned 45 years, with her induction into the Hall of Fame, Val Johnson's eminence springs to new heights. Let's have a look.
Val Johnson's passion for trampoline awakened in 1968 after attending a gymnastics class. She would later become Canada's first ever national trampoline champion, and she founded the Shasta Trampoline Club. Throughout her 5-decade coaching career, she's made it her mission to change lives 1 hour at a time. Learn more about Canadian trampoline's most influential person at the BC Sports Hall of Fame and inspire the future with us.
We are ecstatic to welcome Val to the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the Builder Coach category for trampoline gymnastics.
And Val Johnson joins me now in the BC Sports Hall of Fame. Congratulations. I want to ask you, you said, give me an hour and it can change a child's life. And it did for you. Can you just go back to what you saw first time walking into that new Westminster gym?
Well, I feel like when you're a coach and you have a child once a week for an hour, that what you say and do with them is like can change their life. You don't know where they come from. You don't know what their life is like. So we want to make the best hour we can every week.
You have influenced so many, but you were an athlete too. What did you love about the sport of trampoline?
Well, trampoline, the feeling of flying in the air and doing skills was just defying gravity. It's awesome.
You know, it has grown so much. When you're competing, and it's kind of a new sport at that point, did you feel the pressure, or was it just about fun? I mean, you're representing Canada at the championships like there. Did you feel that pressure, or was it love and joy?
I felt the pressure. I felt the pressure definitely, but it was all worth it. It was great.
What is the key? What is the key to success? What do we have? 50 years of coaching or involved in the sport. Why? Is it the kids? Is it unique for you every day?
It's, I guess, the love of working with the kids that want to achieve these goals, and seeing them put on a Canadian jacket for the first time is great for them, and I just get new kids every time, and I just keep going. So,
do you get as much satisfaction? You want to see Olympians. You've been at the highest level, but do you get satisfaction for someone who enjoys it just for a year and understands the love of it?
Absolutely. Doesn't matter if it's an hour. It doesn't matter if it's for 10 years.
The average sports fan understands trampoline, understands the Olympics because we won gold medals. Are you happy with where the sport is? Are you surprised how much it's grown?
Oh, I think it's great. Finally getting into the Olympics and having that status is amazing.
Val, thank you for this, and congratulations for all you have done and all you continue to do for the sports, and welcome to the BC Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Perry.
Val Johnson going into the BC Sports Hall of Fame. Now here's Lynn.
Some of you may remember when the 1979-80 University of Victoria Vikings men's basketball team made the history books. Let's have a look.
It was the perfect rallying cry. You can't stop a train. The 1979-80 University of Victoria men's basketball team, under head coach Ken Shields, won UVic's first ever Canadian championship, rattling off 20 straight wins in Canada West play. It would be 7 years before an opponent would stop the UVic train. Learn more about this dominant university basketball team at the BC Sports Hall of Fame and inspire the future with us.
I am happy to welcome the 1979-80 UVic Vikings men's basketball team into the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the team category.
And going into the BC Sports Hall of Fame, the 1980 Victoria Vikings basketball team, Chris Hebb and Gerald Kazanowski join me now. Guys, thank you for this. Gerald, we'll start with you. That was an incredible team that started a great run. What are your memories when you think of your university days and all your success in Victoria?
Oh, I had a great time. I mean, coming from the NIMO, I thought I was going into a United Nations meeting. You know, we had some awesome awesome veterans. Chris was there. He actually got me prepped for playing against Charles Barkley. I mean, Chris had a huge pro butt and big chest, and he would block me out one time he was blocking me out so hard, it was at a half court, and I said, "Hey, Chris, ease up. You guys got the ball." I mean, Charles Barkley was playing against Chris Hebb. And we had Rennie Delcetti. I mean, that guy, he'd be so polite. He'd cut through the key and he'd say, excuse me, but you couldn't move him. I mean, we had, guys from Italy, from Polish, from Nanaimo, from Prince Rupert, from back east, Shawnigan. I mean, we had a whole mixture of people that just came together with one goal, and Shields had us playing, awesome.
Chris, I mean, you were a veteran, as you said, on that team. What made it? I mean, winning makes teams closer. But you guys battled, didn't you? What kept this team so tight?
I think what happened was we decided that winning was more important than our particular roles. And so guys had to kind of change what they've been doing coming out of high school, because everybody was a star on their high school team. And in order for us to turn into the championship team that we became, people had to assume different roles, and that's hard on people's egos. But at the end of the day, when you're winning and you're not losing at all, you know that the formula works. You know that the people that are getting the floor time deserve it, and at the end of the day, we got a championship out of it, and that's all we cared about.
Gerald, from your perspective, was there almost enough competition? You were saying earlier, you guys went down to the States. Did you, I'm not going to say you walked around with your chest puffed out in Canada, but did you even know before you took the floor with your team there was a confidence that you were winning basketball games?
Yeah, we did. We had a group of guys that, it was just amazing. Some of the things I remember, about Eagle, I think it was Heber and Delcetti used to say, fame and a quarter will get you a cup of coffee at Quam Lee's. So it wasn't about our egos. It was about Shields preparing ourselves to do a job. He used to say, do your job. And we would go into every game basically knowing that we were going to win if we did our stuff. And different people would show up at different times when needed. So it was like Chris was saying, everybody was important. Everyone had a role to play. And we were so prepared. And in fact, some of our toughest competition was in the inter-squad games. I mean, those were pretty tough.
I love this question, Chris. You can take it, and Gerald will hop in when he's done. I like to compare, because basketball was a little different back then, but man, you needed to play, and you needed to be tough. Let's push that team into 2020, and you're all going back to the island. Do you think you can compete, and would you be just as good in this university era now?
Everybody likes to compare eras, but I look back at the team we had and the guys that ended up on our national team, the guys that, if it was 20 years later, would have been drafted into the NBA off of that team. I'd put that team up against anybody then or now. It's really hard to compare eras, but that basketball team had a great point guard in Eli Pasquale, which is considered a necessary ingredient. We had Gerald, who really was kind of a point forward. Once the ball got to Gerald, good things happened. And then we had other guys that played significant roles. You had shooters like Billy Luce. You had Rennie Delcetti, who would just clear the boards. Ted Anderson was an amazing athlete that would come in and create energy. Ian Hidlay was like having a professor on the team and a coach on the floor. And then let's not forget Shields, because he had to take this group of guys who were used to being the alpha dogs and turn them into a team. And that's what happened.
Gerald, I'll leave this last one for you before we wrap up. I'm sensing, I know you got connected here with Chris. I don't think it was, hey, I haven't seen you forever. Is this a tight group? That bond that you started in 1980, is this a group that all knows what everybody's doing now?
Yeah, we are so tight. We stay in touch with each other. Like Chris was going through each player's role, and it was so important. I was really looking forward to getting together with everybody in person. One of the things we're trying to find out is actually Mickey Welder's actual background. So yeah, we're a pretty tight group, and we stick together. lot of fun. You know, we won a lot of games, but you know, the best part were the memories and the tight camaraderie we had amongst this group. It's pretty special.
Well, it'll be special when you can all gather at the BC Sports Hall of Fame, because that's where you belong. Now, Gerald, thank you for this. Chris, thank you for this. And guys, congratulations to your Victoria Viking team.
As is our custom every year, the Hall of Fame would like to take a moment to recognize the honored members we've lost since the last time we were able to gather together. Just as they made lasting contributions to the sporting legacy of our province, their accomplishments and their stories will live on at the BC Sports Hall of Fame, inspiring and motivating us for generations to come.
There is a hero in all of us, a teammate, a champion, and a friend. We fall down, but we don't stay down. We keep trying, keep pushing, until it's perfected, until we are the best we can be. Our dreams are big, and we grow up to be some of the world's best. We are the next generation of sport and the leaders of tomorrow. Help keep our dream alive. The BC Sports Hall of Fame. Donate today.
Welcome back. Up next, one of BC's most respected sports writers, Cleve Dheensaw. Here is more on Cleve's career.
Cleve Dheensaw grew up playing sports, but his real talent was writing about them. In a 40-plus year history, he chronicled every sport on Vancouver Island. He spotlighted greats like Steve Nash, Silken Laumann, and Simon Whitfield. In his career, he covered 4 Olympics, 6 Commonwealth Games, the Pan American Games, and he penned 6 books. Learn more about this legendary sports writer at the BC Sports Hall of Fame and inspire the future with us.
It's my pleasure to welcome Cleve into the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the media category.
And Cleve joins us now from his home in Victoria. Cleve, thank you so much for your time. And boy, a big congratulations to you. What does it mean to go into the BC Sports Hall of Fame?
Means the world to me. I think this is probably the most important Sports Hall of Fame as far as I'm concerned, because it's not just about your city, it's about the whole entire province. And I guess Canada Sports Hall of Fame would be bigger than that, but still, I mean, I'm from British Columbia, so obviously means the world to me. Just because the most important thing for me and the most interesting thing I find and the most gratifying thing for me is that as far as the media category goes, which is my category, I'm the first inductee who has spent his entire career outside the Vancouver market. And that I find that it's pretty groundbreaking, and I'm pretty proud of that, actually. There have been others, from my high school alone. Vic High, we've had 3 people in the media Hall of Fame, in the BC Sports Hall of Fame. Jim Taylor, Jim Kearney before me, That's just for my high school. But of course, they went on to Vancouver, started off in Victoria in the media, Victoria Times, and columnist, and they went on, of course, to the Vancouver media and made their names. But I'm the first person who spent his entire career outside the Vancouver market to be inducted into the media portion of the Hall of Fame, and I'm proud of that. And I think it strikes a blow for the island media.
Cleve, as someone who has been around and documented some of the greatest moments in sports history in our country, what stands out for you?
Oh, I just think some of the island stories I've covered over the years. Silke Lauman's comeback bronze medal at the Barcelona Olympics from a horrendous injury. When people doubted she could even be at the start line, and barely able to walk, and yet winning a bronze medal. That stands out. Simon Whitfield, another Victoria athlete in a sport nobody had ever heard of before 2000, and suddenly in the shadow of the Sydney Opera House, there he was, springing into the limelight and into golden glory for Canada. And everybody then suddenly knew what triathlon was. 8 years later, of course, at Beijing, he almost does it again, wins silver behind Jan Frodo of Germany, and that really sticks out. And of course, having a golden generation now of Canadian basketball players in the NBA, but that was all started by Steve Nash, of course, from Victoria, and him following his career as he won 2 NBA MVP awards, which unprecedented for Canadian sport. And another great athletes I've covered over the years. Gareth Rees, 4-time World Cup rugby player for Canada, and Captain Canada in 2 of the World Cups. The Gate brothers, probably the greatest lacrosse players of all time, also out of Victoria. So all the tremendous athletes from the island. Without them, my stories would have been not as good, right? And they're the real true heroes of the piece.
Cleve, what leaves you the most excited right now as to where sports is going in our country and what we have to look forward to?
I just think the amount of athletes who are coming out of this province. You look at the NHL. There's so many players out of BC now. And when I was growing up, there were hardly any, right? And so that's been just almost a revolution of players, especially hockey players, coming out of the province. And I just hope the future generation of BC athletes will look back on the people that have gone before them in the BC Sports Hall of Fame and be inspired by those people who originally set the pace for them and set the foundation that they are now building on themselves. And I just think the future looks really bright for BC sports. And when you look at the amount of whatever the population is of BC in Canada, within Canada, we punch above that weight when it comes to Olympic teams. I think we produce between 13 to about 18% of the Canadian Olympic team every year, winter and summer, every 2 years, winter and summer. And we punch well above our weight in terms of where we are in population to how many athletes we produce for Team Canada across the board in any number of sports. And that is a revelation for just how great sport is in this province, and the future looks bright as far as I can see.
Cleve, congratulations on a wonderful honor and a wonderful career in going into the Sports Hall of Fame. Now back to Lynn.
Let's learn a little about one of Canada's greatest cyclists, our next inductee, Alex Stieda.
It was riding the steep hometown hills of Coquitlam that helped pave the way for Alex Stieda's cycling success. He quickly rose up the ranks, winning the 1980 Gastown Grand Prix and competing in the 1984 Olympics. At the 86 Tour de France, Alex would become the first North American to wear the coveted yellow leader's jersey. Learn more about one of Canada's greatest cyclists at the BC Sports Hall of Fame and inspire the future with us.
Please join us in welcoming Alex into the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the athlete category for cycling.
And Alex Stieda joins us from his home in Edmonton. Alex, thank you very much. Congratulations. What does it mean to go into the BC Sports Hall of Fame?
Well, Perry, it truly is an honor to be inducted to the class of 2020, and I'm certainly looking forward to the event.
Alex, you've accomplished so much in your career, but what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of an award like this?
That's a tough one. I've had such an amazing career I just feel so fortunate to have the opportunities I've had all along the way. I think wearing the yellow jersey at the Tour de France was certainly a highlight. For me, finishing the Tour de France was probably more rewarding, just because it involved such a huge 3-week effort to get across the line on the Champs-Élysées.
Can you tell us something, Alex, that you learned in your career as a cyclist that you use now and has kind of worked for you in life as you've went forward?
That's a great question. What rings true? I've learned a lot of lessons from cycling, from athletics, as an amateur and a professional cyclist. One of the lessons I've learned is, just keep moving forward, keep pedaling. You might get hit left and right from all these different obstacles that are trying to get in your way. That could be physical, could be mental, could be personal, could be from the team, from people on the outside. But if you just keep pedaling and keep moving forward, you have a really good chance of getting to where you want to go. You may not be going fast at times, but you're still moving forward.
Alex, thank you so much for your time. And again, congratulations from all of us for going in to the BC Sports Hall of Fame.
All right. You're very welcome. I'm so honored to be a part of the BC Sports Hall of Fame.
And now let's go back to Lynn, who introduces us to the final member of the Sports Hall of Fame 2020 class.
Over the past hour, we've been honored to pay tribute to some of the greatest athletes, teams, builders, and sports media in BC's long and cherished history. Our final inductee in the class of 2020 is a great human being and one of the greatest goaltenders in Vancouver Canucks history, Kirk McLean.
Kirk McLean was always drawn to the goaltender's crease. Known for his characteristic stand-up style and Cobra-quick glove, he gave the Vancouver Canucks some of the best net minding in the NHL over his 11-year tenure, including leading the team to 2 Smythe Division titles, the Western Conference Championship, and the 1994 Stanley Cup Finals. Learn more about one of the most revered Canucks of all time at the BC Sports Hall of Fame and inspire the future with us.
It is my pleasure to welcome Kirk to the BC Sports Hall of Fame in the athlete category for ice hockey.
And Kirk McLean joins me now in the BC Sports Hall of Fame. Congratulations. What's the moment mean to you?
Well, it's quite an honor, obviously. Especially I've told the story before, being a kid from Ontario. But having said that, I've been here since 1987. I've lived the majority of my early 20s now into my mid 50s, so I'm a West Coaster all the way. So when I got the call, I was dumbfounded and overwhelmed, to be quite honest with you.
Well, this city loves their athletes, loves their hockey players, and loves the moments, and 94 will never be forgotten. But could you imagine that this love affair continues and does to this day with you, Kirk?
It's quite a feeling, and it's hard to describe because people always ask me about that. How do you compare to the 82 team or the 2011 team? All I have to say is I say that our 94 team still hold a special place in the city's heart for whatever reason it may be. And maybe it was because of the age of the adults now, because maybe they were in their mid-20s or 30s then. But it just picks up right where we were. We can walk around the streets and wave to people and enjoy talking to people and without any issues. Now the poor guys have the social media and what have you. But the 82 team was a special team as well. And I know a lot of the guys that are still in town feel the same way with the fans.
You guys are kind of interwoven with the city and the sports fans. Go back to that run, and maybe that was 2 weeks, New York, here, back and forth. You even remember that, or does that become a blur? Because you were, I would say, in such a zone at the best and the prime.
Yeah, it's a blur, but you still remember little things. And, of course, us coming back from being down 3-1 again, and then, going into New York, when we were down 3-1, they already had made up the hats and the T-shirts, and they were already planning the parade. And, of course, at that time, the cup's going to be in the building because they were expecting to win that 4th game. But we plugged away, and We got back there for Game 7, and unfortunately, we weren't able to close the deal.
Well, and as we celebrate Stanley Cup champions every year, but when you talk a series, 94 would still be in a conversation for the greatest ever. Congratulations on this, not for 94 too, but you've been such a big part of this city and well deserved to be in this BC Sports Hall of Fame.
Well, I much appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Kirk McLean going into the BC Sports Hall of Fame. Lynn, back to you.
For the class of 2020, the road to this moment was not without its share of challenges. Embarking on this journey through a year that provided no shortage of uncharted waters to navigate only makes these moments together more rewarding. We hope to have you with us next year to celebrate in person. But until that time, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Don't forget to join the conversation on social media to share your favorite moments from this evening's celebration. Follow @BC Sports Hall on Twitter or Instagram and use the hashtags Class of 2020 and Induction Gala. One final reminder that you can still take part in tonight's 50-50 draw. Head over to bcsportshall.rafflenexus.com to purchase your tickets to support the BC Sports Hall of Fame and the Hero in You education program. On behalf of the entire BC Sports Hall of Fame extended family, we'd like to thank you once again for joining us. Good night.